walked up into St James's and my hands, everything, my whole body just lit up. I've got goosebumps all over my...
I get those goosebumps. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, go that.
Hey, we are back on Loaded Mag NUFC for another fully loaded transfer show. Welcome to the chat. Welcome everyone. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Everyone smash that like button as well. But Chris, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Busy day in work. I was doing a bit of training this morning, and then this afternoon I caught up with the work that I missed out on in the morning. And then I was ready to go for the run. I went to go for the run this afternoon, but for one reason or another, that didn't quite happen. So then I had that tough decision of, do I get a shower and be ready for the show, or do I just stay as I am and get a shower later? So that's what I've chosen to do. So that's why I'm in kind of unusual gear tonight. But yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been a good day. And as you rightly pointed out at the start, before we came on, we're over halfway through the week. So all good. I'm looking forward to the weekend. But how are you, Daz? You okay, mate?
I'm good. I'm just waiting for a signing though. Like everyone else in the chat, I know people are starting to get impatient now as well. I used Pete's line. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we would have had one by now. I was half expecting for one to break during the day and us to change the show up. Hey, you never know. We could have breaking news yet during the show, but yeah, just want something to happen now, and because time is ticking along as well, and we do have to strengthen in a few different positions. So, but we were going to get into that as we go through. As everyone knows, Pete's on holidays. You never know; he may drop by. You know what Pete's like? He likes to surprise us. Checking up on us, I think, is he?
Yeah, he might be.
But let's see. But let's get straight into it. Of course, actually, we have to say congratulations to Spain on winning the Euros, because that's where we left people off on Sunday morning, Chris. And congratulations to Nine as well, who was the winner of the sweepstake, and Shane Mawson, who was the runner-up. But we'll sort them out with the prizes as well. Yeah. But let's get straight into it. I'm sure there's loads of tunes in the chat as well. Chris will pop them up on the screen. Oh, do you want to give a shout out to some first?
I'll whiz through them, yeah, because in normal fashion, and people be angry if we didn't do that, because Pete started this tune, and to be fair, it's everyone in the chat loves it, and we love giving everyone a shout out as well. So we've got Geordie Tune for Life with his tune. We've got Philip Ray. I was only saying, Philip, just before the show started, I haven't seen you for a while, so good to have you in the chat with us, mate. Really, really good. And then Talk of the Devil. There he is. The runner-up. There he is.
It's early morning now for Shane.
Yeah. Good to have you in the chat with us, as always, mate. We've got Ian CR65 with his tune. We've got Nathan Page. We've got Declan Goggin. Great to have you with us, Declan. Colin Bentham. Bill Ashby, Magpies Unite. We've got Nat. There he is, the Euro winner. There he is. Good to have you, mate. And yeah, Nine, Shane, reach out to myself, Daz, Loaded, whoever. Reach out, let us know. Let us know your details, and obviously we can get that voucher winged over to you. No problem at all. So I just need like an email address, just so I can send the details over to you. So yeah, reach out, get in touch with us, and we'll get get them vouchers over to you. Absolutely. Where else are we? Have you got any more tunes? No, that is us all up to date on the tunes.
All right, well, let's get straight into it because I'm going to bring you on a bit of a story through the week first, or through the last couple of days, and then I want to go into the transfers and the talk and the rumors and so on, and just have some opinions as well. But as we all know, we left you off where the lads were about to head off to Germany. They made it to Germany. They traveled by plane and by bike as well. So there's Sandro on the bike, of course. Loads of great discussions going on with the head of Adidas there as well. All the main men trying to sort out some future deals as well. You never know. So great to see that they're all seem to be enjoying themselves anyway at the camp. But then I'm going to take you in another direction because all this talk of England, because obviously when Spain won the Euros, turned attention to Southgate. Is he going to stay or go? And that's the speculation came in. And Mark Douglas kicked it off, or everyone was kind of talking about it. Should Newcastle fans be worried about Eddie Howe if Southgate was to leave? Others saying Matt Lawson then confirmed that Eddie Howe would be on the shortlist if Southgate was to quit. Craig Hope says that Eddie would have a decision to make, but he's very happy in Newcastle and has forged a strong bond with the city, the club, the fans, but he has ambition to manage England one day. Is it the right time? I'm going to go to a fan opinion because on Twitter, Kev Lawson, I'm going to go to because he makes a good point here. How is a workaholic with a young family and time is on his side to come back to club management? He'd be tempted, even if it's just for a chance to spend more time with his family while they're young. Graham Bailey says Eddie Howe would be open to the idea of becoming England manager, but at that stage it was all speculation, hypothetical. Southgate's still there until bang, Southgate decides to leave. It's over. So then I'm going to stop there, Chris, because I know we had a little discussion as well this morning with Keith Patterson and what's your thoughts on as it stands there? Eddie, do you think he'd go? Do you think it's something he'd consider? Where do you think it lies for Eddie Howe? And Chris has paused. I love it. Or is he deep in thought? So I'm going to take Chris off screen, or he did himself. So I'll come back to Chris in a second. But while I'm waiting for Chris and his thoughts on Eddie Howe, I'm going to go to what Darren Neal said. Because not long after that, then we had a much needed communication from our CEO, Darren Eales, and he clarified a lot of things. I'm going to go back to the Eddie topic in a minute, and after Chris is up, but I'm going to jump into some of the things he talked about first. He talked about PSR and the club's finances, and he says, we are compliant now, and we're now in a new 3-year cycle after 70 million losses. Ellie Danson was the right deal at the right time. We wish him the best, as with Yankubu Minteh. These were two deals that made the most sense, and we kept the core together. We now have new revenue and things like Adidas merchandise and other things like Stack coming soon. Going forward, every decision has to be made carefully. We will spend to our maximum that we can do under the headroom. It's now to efficiently spend under the headroom. So that's where he was on that topic. That answered a lot of questions that a lot of us had on PSR. I'll jump on again. I think when he talked about commercial partners. There's more in the pipeline with commercial revenue. When we took over, we had 140 million in terms of revenues. Then it went to 180, then to 250 million. And last season will be north of 300 million. That's a 30% year on year, which is phenomenal. The ownership is doing great things. We have a number of new partners in the pipeline we can announce over the next few months. So that's another great clarification from Darren Eales on commercial partners. As Chris comes back.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No problem, no, because I wanted to get those bits out of the way. You know, I'll jump back now to the Eddie conversation because, and then I'll tie up Darren Eale's comments on Eddie after that. But I want to get your thoughts, Chris. We're talking up until Southgate resigned. So, what's your thoughts? I was just saying that this morning or last night even. We're having a conversation with Keith Patterson, and you were one side of the coin, and Keith was at the other. What's your thoughts now on Eddie Howe and England, I suppose?
Do you know what? It's funny, Daz, because you're right. Keith and I and yourself were having a bit of a debate over Eddie Howe and obviously the England's proposition. And don't get me wrong, my belief at the very, very start was always that Eddie would turn England down, and chances are he probably will. Like, you know, I'm not saying that I think he will go. You know me, Daz, I'm always a devil's advocate kind of guy. And I think as well, because maybe I've been a little bit hurt over the past few months, you know, I always try and mentally prepare myself for the opposite. Like for me, I do think the landscape has changed a little bit. And whilst I still believe that Eddie Howe would reject any advances from England, and my head is saying, he's a club man. He wants to be involved in the day-to-day running of club football. I totally get that, and it makes absolute sense. And I'd love to hear from everyone in the chat as well. You know, obviously their thoughts. Like I firmly believe that Eddie Howe, will most likely, if approached, reject the advances. However, there is like a nagging doubt in my mind, and I think it's after watching, having been so close off the back of the Euros finishing, looking at this England squad, and there's so much potential in that England squad. I mean, you know, Daz, I'm not the biggest England fan, but I look at that squad, and I think really you could argue that was the strongest squad in the Euros. Yes, we got to the final. Yes, we did very well, despite not playing very well. And I just think, is Eddie Howe going to potentially be tempted by this? England doesn't come about all that often. And, I've read people saying, not this time, next time. But I think what some people may be overlooking is, the manager cycle can change very quickly. A manager's career can change direction incredibly quickly. I mean, let's fast forward. Let's play this devil's advocate, which is what I've been playing in my head. Fast forward till December. Say England approach Eddie Howe next week, and Eddie Howe goes, no, don't want the England job, want to stay at Newcastle, which is great news for us, great news for the club. Fast forward to December, and Newcastle are sitting mid-table, possibly, in God forbid, in the 12th, 13th, 14th in the league, and the management turn around and go, do you know what? We need a change. We need to make a change. We need a new manager to come in. And Eddie Howe ends up being released from his Newcastle contract, where his stock falls quite dramatically. And depending on when his next job would be, would he take a break from the game? Would he then jump straight into a new job? I mean, we saw, didn't we, Rafa Benitez taking the Everton job. Now, some people thought that was a really smart move. I mean, I remember saying at the time, I think he could go to Everton. I genuinely did, because he's got a big affinity with Merseyside. He loved his time at Liverpool. But anyway, my point is, he took the Everton job. That failed miserably. And then all of a sudden, Rafa Benitez went from a really credible, I wouldn't say liked, a really credible, highly sought after manager to then, Rafa Benitez, don't know on him. And that's how quickly opinions of managers can change. And I'm just thinking, will Eddie Howe be speaking with his family? Will he be saying to them, listen, is this going to come about again? He'll be speaking to his agents, and his agent might be going, this is the biggest job. If you're a manager and you're going through the ranks, you're earning your badges, you're getting your qualifications. The pinnacle of football is managing your country. And if your country come call them and they want you to, come and be the manager of the England national side, and they've got such a fantastic squad, we all know we haven't won anything since 1966. And Eddie Howe steps into the England job with a fantastic squad, a great chance at this next World Cup 26. And he goes and wins the World Cup with England. That's him set for life. It's him set for life. And people will say Eddie Howe can do that at Newcastle. When, I'm not saying if, when he wins a trophy at Newcastle, if he stays, he's going to have godlike status at Newcastle as well. But let's not kid ourselves. The pressure is on this season. The pressure is on to perform and to at least get Europe this season. I would say top 4, being brutally honest. And we know that this ownership group, they want to get to number 1. We saw it. We saw Yasser Al-Rumayyan say he wants Newcastle to be number 1. And if Eddie Howe can't deliver on that, or we don't look like we're going in the right direction, make no mistake about it, these owners will be ruthless. They absolutely will be. We've seen it with Amanda and Mehrdad. They will make the difficult choices. They will make the difficult decisions. Look what happened last season, Daz, when Newcastle were floundering. Yes, we had loads of injuries, and yes, there was excuses as to why we were where we were. But there were some people calling for Eddie Howe's head then. So if we've got this really good start to the season, and people are going, oh yeah, will we go? What if we don't make a good start to the season?
Wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then is he going to be looking back? Is his family going to be going to him? Do you know what, Eddie? Maybe you should have took that England job. I genuinely think, I think if you were to push me now, I think it's 70-30 that he stays. But I do have that doubt, or I do have that belief that this isn't just going to get brushed aside. Eddie Howe, if he gets offered that job, he's not just going to go, nope, staying here. I do think there is a decision to make. So the people coming out in the media saying that, a decision, Eddie Howe's got a decision to make. And I think Kev made a good point, with his family. Eddie Howe's so intense, and we know he loves that. But will his family be going to him? Eddie, we want to spend more time here. We want you to be around the kids. And with this England opportunity being it's such a good opportunity. This isn't a squad full of players who you're like, oh, hopefully they qualify. This is a top tier, top level squad. And he must be looking at that and thinking, do you know what? I could do big things with this squad. Gareth Southgate has a really good squad available to him. And there'll be a lot of people out there, not just myself, but other people going, if he'd have done this, or if he'd have played him, or if he'd have dropped him, or if he'd have brought an actual left back who could play with his left foot. And, we didn't have that until the final. But, we would have maybe performed better. We'd have gotten a groove better. We'd have found our identity earlier. And then going into that Spain game, maybe we'd have played with much more confidence. Maybe we wouldn't have been so defensive. Maybe we would have took the game to Spain, and we'd be looking at the back of, being European champions. I think Eddie Howe's going to be looking at this and thinking, I could do this job. I could definitely do this job. And would Jason Tindall be in his ears saying, Eddie, come on, it's England.
Have you seen that? Have you seen the Paddy Power? I should have sent it on to you. Paddy Power come out with a good on a Jason Tindall and just on the whole connection to England. Well, I'm going to provide a bit of balance, right?
Yeah,
do it on that because I'm on the other side, Chris. But I do take all the points you said. I'm going to go negative first and then go positive, because negative wise, we don't know how he's really feeling either after Amanda and Mehrdad leaving. That like they had a strong bond as well. So this will really test the water really if an approach does come for Eddie. But for me, England can wait. I think Eddie should stay, and I think he will stay with Newcastle. He sees the big picture. He'll see the project and where we want to go, and he has the means to take us there. There's nothing stopping him really with backing from the board. And I've just mentioned the commercial side of things that's going on in the background, and the that we have money to spend, and spend wisely with Paul Mitchell hopefully on board as well. But there's nothing stopping him winning something with Newcastle and then going on and further on in his career and taking up the England job then and getting to a final and losing as well. That's all good with me. So yeah, I think he will be a future England manager, but I'm hoping that he'll say, "Fuck off, England! I'm with Newcastle. I'm going nowhere now." So that's my hope. But and when you said you're 70-30 that Eddie stay, I'm about 85-15 because. And that 15 doubt is because of things that have happened recently. I didn't think Amanda would ever really go, especially so soon. So that's why I'm at the 15%. So all bets are off. But we'll move on, and I'm going to go back to Darren Eales then on what he said on Eddie Howe then, because we did learn a lot of things from Darren Eales. He's the 10 minutes that went out, and then the conversations with the journalists afterwards. But Fabrizio Romano says Newcastle are going to fight to keep him at the club. That's what Darren Neal said. Also, Keith Downey says Darren Neal expects him to stay on. He also revealed details of a multi-year extension in his contract that was done last summer. But was unreported at the time, and that there would be a large compensation involved if it ever came to that. And I think I don't think England have ever paid anything like that kind of compensation for someone either. So just to keep that in mind as well. Also, Chris Waffles, he said the same on the no set release clause. Newcastle want Howe for the long term, and linking in with a similar. So that's where we are on Eddie. Newcastle say no if they come knocking. Just then going back to Darren Neal's on the subject of Amanda Mirdad, because he does touch on that as well. And he wished them the best in the future. Excited to see what they go into next. He also mentioned about Paul Mitchell and that he's strong in the area of recruitment. He has a global vision, and he's excited for the partnership that Eddie and Paul will have. He also mentioned about James Bounce coming in, and they pin it all back to the injuries from last year. Of course, he has experience working with Paul Mitchell as well, and making players available to Eddie is going to be on the agenda there. But I think that's it all on the CEO, because I had mentioned the other details while you were gone, Chris. So I'm gonna go straight to some transfer talk then. So let's move on next. So next thing I'm gonna bring up is again some items popping up. The Chronicle had Lee Ryder head up about Saudi Pro League clubs eyeing Kieran Trippier once again. It's something that we had been talking about ourselves the last while, but so I suppose he's going to be having some time off now after the Euros. Can you see him going, Chris? Kieran Trippier?
I think so, yeah. Not just for the fact that obviously he's 33, soon to be 34, I believe. I could be wrong saying that, but I think he is. He's certainly 34 this year, I'm pretty sure on that. But I also think, I don't know, I feel like something changed with Kieran Trippier at the back end of last season. He just didn't seem himself. I don't know what it was. Obviously, he had that little wobble where he had those few games. I think it was against Everton and Tottenham where he performed particularly poorly. I know he had some personal issues going on. I feel like he may have, his eyes may have wandered. I feel like maybe, he may have been tempted by, all these multi-millions that you could possibly get in Saudi. Who knows? Maybe he's looking in America. I don't know. But for me, I think there's a distinct possibility that Kieran Trippier could go. I think it's a good opportunity for us to recoup all, if not some, of the initial outlay that we made on him, which I believe was around 12 million. I think if you're getting 12 million or north of that for the 33-year-olds who served the club exceptionally well, and you've already brought in the replacement, I think it would be naive of the club not to consider offers for Kieran Trippier. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone came in now and said, we'll give you 2 million for Kieran Trippier, you go, no, it's all right, I'd rather keep him. But if someone starts talking 12, 15 million for the 33-year-olds who you've already replaced, who's probably got another year, possibly two at a push left in him, I think it would be naive not to sell him. I always revert back to the Gary Speed scenario, where Bobby Robson sold Gary Speed, I think it was to Bolton, because we got a decent fee for him. And back then, the fee wasn't even that decent. I think it was 750 grand. But he said, at the time, I think he was 34, 35. He then went on to play another 2 or 3 years and was exceptional. But, I could see why they took the money, because they thought, well, it's bringing money into the club. We're getting money for the player who's feasibly only got maybe a year or two left. As it turns out, Gary Speed's ultimate professional ended up playing on longer than that. And I think Sir Bobby Robson said it was one of his biggest regrets letting him go. But that's not always the case. And for me, I just think I would have sold him in January. I'll be brutally honest. I would have. We've got Tino Livramento in there, and I think when we were talking about him the other day, we all unanimously said we want to start the season with Tino Livramento. So if you're getting 12 to 15 million pounds for a player who's got huge leadership qualities, huge experience, but you can get that kind of money in, and then it potentially unlocks a 45, 60 million pound player, do the deal, in my opinion.
It's a no-brainer for me as well. If we get a decent offer, I'd definitely sell myself as well. I'd sell Trips. Right. Just going to give a shout out to, before we go to striker talk, we're going to give a shout out to the Radiator Shed. Yes, the Radiator Shed. You know what to do. Contact Russ on 077-666-04112 or russ@theradiatorshed.com. Mention loaded and you get 20% off. Right, let's get into striker talk, because I got to bring up a current striker first. I didn't have a proposal for you, Chris. I want a would you take a question coming your way. Right, so Wilson, Scott Wilson. I don't think any relation. Scott Wilson was talking about Callum Wilson today, and he's saying that Eddie Howe is going to push hard to keep him. Like he has indicated like that before, but I suppose Eddie Howe has to convince Paul Mitchell as well that is the right thing to do. And look at this West Ham and this potentially Saudi clubs as well looking at Wilson. So be interesting to see how it plays out. Myself, I would sell Wilson and bring in a decent backup to Isak, and a backup that can take over from Isak at times or come on late in games, like a solid number 2 striker that without that injury record. But what would you do, Chris?
It's so difficult, this one, and Callum Wilson's probably the hardest one of all the players who've kind of been spoken about leaving. He's the hardest one for me to kind of make a decision on. On one hand, I'm like you, Daz. I'm like, yeah, sell, bring a replacement in, off we go. But then the other part of me says, if we could keep Callum Wilson, I would be more than happy to keep Callum Wilson so long as a third choice striker came in. If you told me that it's Callum Wilson or no one up front, I would say, well, no. But I still believe we could keep Callum Wilson and bring in a young striker, somebody who's there as the backup.
So that's like I just got to stop you, Chris. So that's like an unknown from the continent, or it's a champion, up and coming championship. Well, even they'll cost a fortune as well. So because you're and for a third, like you're not even asking that striker to be second choice there. You're asking them to be third choice. So like there's very limited options, I think, there in that side of things.
Oh, mate, no, I completely agree, and it's difficult. There's probably not that many great third choice strikers out there who would really add something to the squad. It would certainly be a development player. It'd be somebody who in the future will be good. But I suppose you also need that caveat of if Wilson's out, if Isak's out, he could come in and do a job. So yeah, very, very difficult.
I'm going to jump in again. For me, that kind of a player would be someone kind of, we don't have them or that we're aware of now, someone coming through the youth team, because I don't think Newcastle need three fit strikers either, because we only play with one in that kind of number 9 position. So yeah, but I do if you could, that would be brilliant. But or like we have talked about before, a striker that can play out across the front 3 or out the wing position as well, I guess.
Yeah. What you're thinking. I mean, this may spoil where you're going, Daz, and if it does, I apologise. But in an ideal world of players being linked, if we could sign a Jared Bowen, that would alleviate all the problems, because you then keep Callum Wilson, you bring in Jared Bowen, who we know can play through the middle. He's done a job for West Ham doing exactly the same. If you told me that we were going into the season with Alexander Isak, Callum Wilson and Jared Bowen, and then Anthony Gordon as like the 4th choice if you really wanted one, that's brilliant. But if you told me that it was just Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson like we had last season, I'd say it's a recipe for disaster. So I do take your point in that maybe we are best cutting our losses, taking the money for Callum Wilson and just reinvesting in a striker who can be better relied on.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry to break in there. We have some
Oh,
breaking
no.
news. Breaking news from Greece. Let's get him on. Hey, Pete.
It is.
Hey, how you doing, boys? Hope you well.
All
mate.
good. All good, Pete.
Oh,
You all
good.
okay?
How's the Aussie?
Oh, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Can't complain at all. To take,
Okay. You might need to stay in one
for a
position,
few
Pete.
minutes.
You're just breaking up. And we've
we're
lost.
losing.
Oh,
We're
no,
losing.
he's
Oh, we
back.
are. He's back. He's back. He's back. There you go. We got you back.
Hey,
Stop moving.
typical, yeah, typical Greek Wi-Fi, eh? Never keeps you on long enough.
Oh, there you go.
We know
It
the
looks
Wi-Fi's
amazing
good.
where you are.
It's crap.
Pete. It looks amazing where you are.
I'm going to stop where I'm.
Oh, he said he was going to stop where he was. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
No,
yeah,
no, we can
here
hear
we got you. Here
Don't
we got
move.
you. Don't move.
I'm going to stop where I'm now. So I
Yeah.
apologize. Wi-Fi is not great, but how are you boys? You okay?
All good. All good, Pete. Yeah.
Right.
Waiting for a signing. Where are they?
waiting for the
Waiting. They
students.
must be waiting for you to come back.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a deal already done. I thought there would be a deal done already, but I do fully expect that by Friday something's kicking off. I think I tweeted out late last night. You probably got it early this morning that all the big boys are in Germany. They're all there meeting together. For me, that says that they're finalising who they're targeting, and I think if they're finalising who they're targeting, it's not that far away before the actual deal is going to be done. So whoever it is, I have no idea. Don't know what position, don't know who it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a deal done very very shortly for you boys to celebrate, and it'll be exactly what we need, especially any England fans in the chat tonight. After what happened on Sunday, I think it's what we all need, like just a signing, just to take a mind off the disappointment from Sunday evening. That's for sure.
Yeah. Pete, and sorry, Daz, if I'm jumping the gun here, but have you had a chance to speak to Lee recently? Let's pause.
Thinking about
I was gonna ask him about Kang and Lee.
Ah.
You still there? You still with us, Pete?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
here.
there. Yeah.
You're back.
I was
Sorry,
going to
man.
say, have you had a chance to speak to Lee over the past couple of days?
I haven't. But I did want to have a chat with him about Lenny Yoro, because that's a big deal for Man United.
It is.
They've got done. So that'll be an interesting deal if they can get that over the line. But I've not had a chance to speak to him. Obviously being away, but it's like I say, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. That deal,
I don't know
think
if
we've been linked with.
Oh, sorry. Say again, Pete. Sorry, say again, Pete. Who did you say we've been
Can you hear
linked
me
with?
now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, sorry. I've moved closer to the front. Not great. So I apologise, but no, not anyone in particular. Just a couple of.
No, he's definitely gone now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back again. He's back again.
Yeah.
We were saying, Pete, that we were saying that you've probably seen the rumours of the young striker from PSG we've been linked with, and I just wondered if Lee had said anything about it. No.
No.
Goncalo Ramos, or is that somebody else? I'll be honest, I've not seen it.
No, that's coming later. Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. Is it Kangin Lee? Is that his name? Kangin Lee?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be honest, boys. I see him more of a centre midfielder, but I tell you what, if we can get him, wow, like that is a big signing. He is. I have spoken to Lee about him before any of these links. I spoke to him about him last season, and he is, for me, the reason why I spoke to him is because I didn't believe how good he was. I couldn't believe how good he was. Like, he is a top player. Really, really technically good player. And I've got to be honest, boys, I can't see PSG selling him. But if they do, and we get hold of him, wow, we've got a top player in our hands. Like, but you know, without going into too much detail, he's exactly what Eddie Howe wants. He's a versatile player, plays in multiple positions. He's got the work rate, he's got the technical ability, he's kind of got everything you want in an Eddie Howe player in this setup. So it kind of makes sense, but it's a lot of money you're going to spend on him. But it'd be a hell of a player if we can get him, boys. That's for sure.
I don't think it's solid. It's a solid link, though. It's speculation, I think, more so than anything else.
Okay.
So, what do you got planned for the rest of your holiday, Pete?
Honestly, boys, I've just been like, literally, if we're not on the beach, we're by the pool, sipping drinks all day. Like, the weather is just constantly 32, 34 every day. It's been a dream. I'm not going to lie. So. Daz, to answer your question, more of the same.
More of the same.
More of the same.
Nice one. Maybe Pete's gone to enjoy some more sun and drinks by the pool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think we're going to say goodbye to Pete.
Yeah. Is he back? He's back.
Yeah, back. Pete, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll talk to you soon.
Am I back?
Just about.
I'm back. I think I'm back. I think so.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We can see that moving.
Yeah, I've just moved slightly. Boys, I'm not going to take away from your show any longer. I'm going to head off in a second, but anything you want to ask me before I go, bearing in mind I've not seen a lot of what's been going on Newcastle related. I tend to catch up when the little ones are in bed, but anything you want to ask before I go, before you carry on with the show, boys.
I've got a question for you, Pete. What did you make of the Darren Neal's interview?
I thought it was a fantastic interview. I thought he answered a lot of questions that Newcastle fans wanted to hear. I think he clarified a lot of things. I actually thought that he told us a lot about what the club are looking to do moving forward without actually telling us what they're actually looking to do in terms of the intricacies about it. Boys, we've spoken offline about what Amanda Staveley and Mir Agudusi leaving means for Newcastle United. For me, it means that these guys are ready to rumble. These guys are ready to do the business and ready to really kick on the club. Don't think that there'll be decisions that will be made that won't upset the fans, because maybe they will. But I think they're going to press forward with things, whether it sounds horrible to say, whether fans like it or not, because they want to be number one. And we have to remember that in everything they want to do, they want to be number one. They said it right from the beginning. They are and continuing to maintain that. I think now without the kind of like the blockers, sounds horrible to say, but the blockers in Amanda and Mirdad saying, hold on, you know, respect to fans, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. PIF and the Rubens are going to say, nope, we want to do this. We want to be number one. We're going to plow through with it. And be ready. Be ready for some decisions that we might not expect to happen, but will potentially kick on the club. So can only be a good thing for me. And so a good interview altogether. We have to hear more of that. Darren Eales is now the spokesperson. Now, Amanda Staveley, Mirdad Gadusi are no longer those spokespersons of the club. We need to hear more from him moving forward. So one of many, hopefully, over the course of the next season for me.
Another question, Pete, while your Wi-Fi is good. Will we have to change the How Do You Like That tune? I hope not.
Not a chance. Not a chance. There is no way that Eddie Howe leaves Newcastle United right now. Two reasons for me. One, Eddie Howe is not going to leave Newcastle United in this position after the season that we've had, on the note that we have finished last season on. There's no way he's going to allow that to happen again, particularly after how he left Bournemouth when he left them when they got relegated. He's not going to want to have that as a following fashion. He is going to want to leave Newcastle United either in the best position possible, whether in a great position, or if the decision's taken out of his hands in which he's been sacked. One or the other, not in between. Secondly, Eddie Howe is 46, 47 years old. He is arguably the best English manager in the Premier League right now. And the reason why I say that is because currently England are looking for only English-based managers to be manager of England. So if you're looking at it on that basis, Eddie Howe has another cycle, maybe two, before he takes the role. And there's another cycle of manager before he's in the genuine list to take the job. For me, he's fully focused on Newcastle United. Newcastle United, as Darren Eales said, he's fully focused on Newcastle United. Newcastle United don't want to let him go, rightly so. It would be absolutely catastrophic for Newcastle United to let him go right at the beginning of pre-season. Particularly when we're just about to put the bolts on our signings for this summer. We're literally going to kick it off right now. It'd be the worst thing in the world for us to let him go, because it'll put everything to a halt. It'll put everything on the back burner, because we'd have to get a manager, then look at the signings that would suit the manager and all the rest of it. It's too much messy work. What we need right now, boys, and I don't know if you've already talked about this already, what we need now is confirmation. As soon as possible, quick as possible, confirmation. I'm staying, I'm a Newcastle manager, I'm taking us forward to 24-25 and end this speculation right here, right now. That's what we need, because that would settle every Newcastle United fan down. It would settle us down as a channel. It would mean that we can now focus on what's most important, is those new boys coming through the door, holding up that shirt, the scarf, all that good stuff that we're going to no doubt celebrate over the course of this summer. That's the priority right now, not where the manager's going. So for me, Eddie Howe stays at Newcastle United for at least another season. Simple as that.
Speaking of staying, can you mark your territory there? Put a little X on the ground, because that's the position you need to stand where the Wi-Fi is best, Pete, if there's a signing in the next 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
You know what? This is where they do their like dances and stuff. Like, I'll give you a little...
Oh, you can dance this. Oh, Pete's going to do a dance for us. Lovely. I love it.
It's like one of like 3 or 4 pools, this is the one pool where they do all their dances and stuff during the day. It's like a little bench that they.
Too much dancing.
Too much dancing. Too much brandy.
Yeah.
You heard that bit, what do you?
Yeah.
I said the Wi-Fi would be good, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
Yeah.
So that's typical. But boys, I'm gonna go just because I don't want to keep disrupting the show. But great to see you boys, and
We'll see you soon, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, Pete.
That was Pete, everyone. Pete live from Greece. Right, let's carry on with the show because Pete did give a little spoiler there because I was going to say, would you take? We were talking about Wilson and the striker option just before Pete joined us. So I wanted to say, no, we haven't been linked to this chap, but with PSG looking at Victor Osimhen. Now, I'm not saying us, Victor Osimhen, but PSG have a few strikers already. I wanted to go revisit Giancarlo Ramos. Now, his stock has fallen a bit. He hasn't been. He's got some games, obviously, with PSG, but he's not a completely regular starter for them. And then at the Euros as well, he was behind Ronaldo because Ronaldo won't give up a spot on the Portuguese team. So he's sat on the bench from most of the Euros. At least I think he was on the bench. So I want us to consider going back in for Giancarlo Ramos, who we were talked about before when he was at Benfica and before he moved to PSG. And I think for 50 million, I know we need to strengthen the right wing and right centre back position. But if you're getting money for Wilson and you're getting money for Trips and a few more, why not spend some of that on Giancarlo Ramos? But that was my would you take, Chris? Would you take Giancarlo Ramos?
Oh, mate, 1,000,000%. I mean, if you told me that we were going to be, if to sell Callum Wilson would get you Giancarlo Ramos, yeah, 1,000,000%. I think he's very underrated. We've seen what he can do. You know, we've seen him in the flesh. We've seen him play against Newcastle, and also, you know, he did a fantastic job as well for Portugal. Am I right in thinking, didn't he make his Portuguese debut and he replaced Ronaldo? I'm sure he scored a hat trick. He
scored like 4 goals or something. In the game. Yeah, I remember something along those lines as well. Yeah, for Portugal. And that's what elevated his status as well. Because we were thinking about him then. He 4 goals or something in the game, and then PSG go swoop in. But you know, PSG always want to bring in the best, the next biggest thing as well. So he's going to drop down the pecking order if they bring in Victor Osimhen for sure. And they also have a few more strikers in there as well, Wani or something as well in there. But it's just an option I think we should consider or look at. But I'm sure Paul Mitchell is over anyone that may be available and looking at the comings and goings across the leagues. But anyway, also moving on, let's stick with kind of strikers, maybe more plays on the left. But let's go to Wilfred Gronto or Willy Gronto. Chris, you alerted me to this one with Team Talk rumor, yes, on this one. Also followed up by Graham Bailey, who says Everton are looking at him, but he throws Newcastle in the mix as well. Of course, he's Italian, he's about 20 years old. Would you have a preference for Willie, Chris?
Oh, God, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
There it is.
I remember that from back in the day. Yeah.
Yes.
Were we talking about Willie Nonto as well, or was it no?
I don't know, Chris. I have no idea.
We were talking about someone anyway. And for anyone who thinks that I walk around wearing that t-shirt all the time, I don't. That was a joke because
once off.
Yeah, we were talking about a player. I'm trying to think who it was. Maybe it was him. It was him.
Yeah, it could. It must have been him. Yeah, that's how it came up. And you that's where the pun came out. Then,
yeah. Someone said maybe someone said Wiley or something, and I said that. Well, someone else corrected and said it was Willie, and I went, no, I prefer Willie. But yeah, I insisted on the name. Yeah. But good times that. But no, Willie Nonto, I think he's an interesting player. The best way I would describe him is he's quite electric. So like he's got that burst of pace in him. The only thing I would say, having reflected on it, obviously I posted the link, didn't I, in the chat, is he's not very tall. He's quite small. And we know that Eddie Howe likes he likes a big squad, doesn't he? He likes a squad full of tall players, powerful. Now, Willie Nonto is a powerful player, but he's I would probably say his closest resemblance would be someone like Shaqiri. I think he's only, I'm sure he's only about 5'7", 5'8", something like that, but he's powerful. And he's already got an Italian cap, as you rightly point out, Daz. So there's clearly a player in there. So, I mean, would I take him if the price was right? Definitely, because I think he would improve the squad. I think there is a player in there, as I say, and he's only young. I'm sure he's 20, like you say, 20 or 21. He's a great age. So he's certainly a player of interest, but who knows? I mean, a lot of names are getting thrown about now, aren't they? And I think we're all just excited looking for that first, well, I say first signing. I know we've signed Lloyd Kelly and
first cash signing.
First cash signing, yeah. I think that's
real
good.
Cash signing, yeah.
Real, yeah. We'll give it a Vlachodimos as well. Real cash signing. Yeah.
Well,
Big
let's throw a few
signing.
more names. So Chiesa is our names again. Have been linked with Chiesa along with Spurs and Chelsea. Of course, via Graham Bailey. One you brought to my attention, Chris. Arsenal looking at Mikel Merino, the Spanish lad who was at Newcastle for a while there as well. And he's 1 year remaining on his deal at Real Sociedad, and he'll be available for around 20 million. So wouldn't be bad to get involved there. Maybe he's some unfinished business in Newcastle as well. But
oh, mate,
hard to tell.
Him for 20 million. That would be ridiculous. I mean, we sold him cheap as it was, but the reason that we sold him so cheap was because of the clause in the contract. Because he when we signed him from Dortmund, it's rumored to be believed that he had a clause in his contract that if a La Liga club came in for him, he could go. And apparently that's exactly what happened. So obviously Real Sociedad came in for them, and he informed the club that he wanted to leave. But he spoke fondly about Newcastle in the past. Will he be now looking for the move back to the Premier League? Who knows? It would be difficult. I think it would be difficult to compete with Arsenal for him, given that Arsenal have obviously got Champions League football this season. But exciting project at Newcastle. He's been here before. It wouldn't take him any time to settle. If the rumours are true, and he's available for 20 million, I think we should be riding there. We should be riding there because he's a top quality player, which he showed at the Euros when he got on the pitch at times.
Yeah. No. Other positions to fill, but definitely get in the mix if he was available. Where am I going next? Yes, one that won't be coming. And because this article from TBR was talking about Nico Williams. Nico Williams is not coming to Newcastle, so cross him off your list. He's not coming. He's going to cost too much. He has a release cost, but his wages are going to be too expensive for us. Barca are interested in him, and now his stock has even grown even higher since the Euro. So just forget about Nico Williams. Maybe 2 years ago when we were looking at Gordon, would have been the time, but we're happy with Gordon. Right. Then we moved to just wanted to bring up what the Athletic Newcastle 360 has captured here, but the Athletic are pinpointing Elanga, Maduki, and Bowen as right wingers that we would should be looking at and confirm what I just said there about Nico Williams as well. Of course, while we're on the show as well, and I'm just whizzing through names there now, Chris. I'm not going to spend an awful lot of time on any of them. It's more on the show on Sunday. We also had Xavi Simons and Fabio Mario. Fabrizio Romano mentioned in his podcast about us trying to get involved in the conversations about him, but we'll see on that one. It was also on the Mirror again on Sunday was for Serge Gnabry, and a £40 million fee mentioned, but he's 29 as well. I don't know. I don't think that one's going to happen. This guy as well, Victor Tashgankov, from Girona, the right winger, was being mentioned there. I think it was around 25 million kind of fee that was being talked about. Who knows what will happen there? I'm going to whiz through again with the one the one I think is going to happen first, more than anything else, is Thaw. So there's still nothing else and no breaking news there. I know people have put in the chat then on Jonathan David as well, and nothing else has come to the fore about him since he was mentioned before. So that's really the list of all the players I have in the system, Chris. Anyone you want to bring, or anyone? I know I captured some that you had brought to my attention already, but or anything from the chat we want to go to, or any questions?
Yeah, I mean, tell you what, let's go to some questions because we've got a lot of questions in the chat from the viewers, and it'd be interesting to go through a couple of those. This is a really interesting one from NC. So NC says there were rumours last week of us potentially selling Willock. With Anderson gone already, surely that would open the door for someone like Gibbs White. Not that I want Willock to go though. What do we think? So Daz, what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't see that at all. Anything about Willock. Willock is one I would consider selling if we were to bring in adequate replacements, right? Like a Gibbs White, as mentioned by NC. But I don't know. I'd keep him. Because if he needs to prove as well that he can stay fit. To me, it's a massive season for him now to get back on the pitch, and because last season was a disaster for him. I don't know how much we get for him either because of that. There's the injuries. I think he needs a season to prove himself. So maybe for me, we stick with Willock this season. He proves himself, and if it works out, great. We have Willock, perfect. If it doesn't, and he keeps himself fit, maybe then we look at selling him again. Maybe the next PSR window we need to offload the likes of Willock, but I don't know how much we get for him either. What's your thoughts there, Chris?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think when we were discussing it at the back end of last season, I think Willock is firmly in that group of players where we don't particularly want to sell, but if decent money was put on the table, I think we consider it. I don't think he's like, and I think it's safe to say this, Daz, I don't think he's like an Isak or a Bruno or a Gordon or a Botman where you go, oh, no. It would have to be silly money. I don't think it would take silly money for us to sell Joe Willock. I think on his day, I think he's a really good player. I think he adds a lot of things to the squad. We've spoken about, his engine, the fact that he can take you 25, 30 yards up a pitch very quickly. He travels well with the ball. But the big problem is he can't stay fit. And this is an ongoing issue with not just Willock, but a few players in our squad. And I genuinely think that if we were offered really good money for Willock, and when I say really good money, I would probably say anything north of 20 million. I think the club would consider it. We signed him, I think, for 25 million. I think to make 25. A profit on him would be an ask. I think that would be a big ask. Who knows? We may get 25, 30 million for him, but I think if the club would offer 20 million for him, it wouldn't surprise me if we cut our losses and looked elsewhere. Again, I think he's a talented player. He's still a great age, but that central midfield berth, I think we need players who are going to be available week in, week out. We can't have passengers again. So he kind of falls in the Wilson bracket for me in terms of, if decent money was put on the table, I think the club would listen. So that's where I am with Joe Willock.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to get decent money though for him because of the injuries. I would, if I was a club, I'd be reluctant to go there because of those injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
He's to prove himself for a season.
Yeah, he probably does. And I think a newly promoted club would snap your hands off for him. But again, would they be willing to fork out 20-odd million, which will no doubt be a big part of their budget on a player who isn't guaranteed to be on the pitch? Don't know. And it's whether or not Willock will be interested in moving there as well. Willock will probably have aspirations of joining a club who are of similar caliber to Newcastle. Maybe a slight step down, so maybe like a Palace or someone like that. But would he be willing to go to an Ipswich or someone? Probably not.
Yeah, a Palace, I'd say he may look at because he's a London boy, of course, and they have a decent manager as well. That mightn't be as hard to sell for him.
Could be a shout. Yeah. But it's whether or not they want to. I mean, I suppose that would depend on whether they got rid of the likes of Adam Wharton. If Adam Wharton was to leave, why not? Maybe they would go for the Joe Willock type. I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting question from NC. I'm going to couple two questions together here, Daz, because they're kind of linked. So the Crimson Lip says, also, is anyone worried how quiet the window is? There's hardly any news. And then Irish Bear says, we need 3 quality signings minimum. What is the hold up? So what, in your opinion, Daz, where are we now?
Where I put it in the title of the show, signing imminent. I'm expecting Anthony. I've been expecting it all week. So, and even Pete said it as well there that he's expecting something too. Like there's not that many weeks left. Okay, the window if you look at it as a whole, but Eddie will, Eddie, he'll want them in for pre-season training. Pre-season training has started already. He'll want them for the first game. Then we go to Japan. He'll want to be bringing them to Japan to just get to know the players as well, and just the integration and. So I think we have to be, and we're not just looking to buy one player, and you could say, okay, maybe it might happen in a week or two's time, but we need a few players, so it has to be imminent.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think things are bubbling away in the background. We've obviously saw, Man United seem to be making their move. I think bringing in Lenny Yoro, to bring that up. I think that'd be a fantastic signing, given that it looked like he was certain to move to Real Madrid. If Man United can pull that off, make no mistake, that is a fantastic signing because he looks a real prospect. That seems to be a good move for them. I mean, Mikey P says Man United are making moves, but the Toon train is coming and it ain't stopping for no team. So Mikey positive there, which is absolutely great. And I you know what, I was accused earlier of being a little bit negative. But when it comes to transfers, I firmly believe that there are things bubbling away, and I do think the signings will come very, very soon. Hopefully Malik 4, I think he would be a fantastic first signing. So he would be a deal I'd love to get over the line. But do you know the one that's intriguing me, Daz, and I don't know about you, the one that's intriguing me is the right wing position. I think that's going to be the biggie. And I'll be genuinely honest with you. I think it could go anywhere. I actually think that the right wing signing could be a player, or most probably will be a player we've not even spoken about. I think it's going to be a biggie.
Yeah, I think it'd be a surprise package as well. Yeah. That's why I kind of starting to think outside the box. That's why I went with the Goncalo Ramos, not for right wing, but just thinking of players that we haven't been linked with, because I think it's going to be a surprise package there as well on that position. Yeah, I agree.
Talking of surprise packages, Lee Jones says, Daz, now that we've got about 100 million to spend, will we get your dream signing of KK?
No, we won't, Lee. I wish we would, but it makes no sense. I still talk about KK, but I ruled him out because of when we got Gordon, because it doesn't make it, and then we got Barnes on top of that. So we're getting another left winger. I know you could move them around a bit, but it doesn't make any sense. Only if Gordon was to be sold, which I don't want him to be sold, he won't be sold. Then I'd be going all out for KK. But no, it doesn't make any sense going for KK. If PSR was to be scrapped totally, then yes, go get KK. But until then, no. Sorry, Lee. Sorry, myself as well.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Bowman's being positive as well, Daz. He's saying, Toon lads, that Ashworth Snake's certainly doing things at Man United. They're going to be strong next year. Hopefully Mitchell can pull out a few gems. And I think that's one of the main reasons that Paul Mitchell's been brought in, to not only has he got the contacts, but he will also have the pull. He's used to doing these big transfers, and he'll have a wide pool of players who he'll know that either are available or players who we know that would suit Newcastle's game. From the sounds of things, Paul Mitchell's kind of been in the background for a while now, not just when he started, but it sounds like discussions were taking place, and no doubt he'll have done his research. I'm sure he's very methodical, so it won't come as a shock. I mean, if you ask most media outlets, which I find fascinating, and obviously they do their homework, it's pretty obvious that we need really a striker or a striker come right winger as a right centre back, and then possibly looking at another goalkeeper, possibly looking at another central midfielder. So he will, if we're all aware of that, not just Newcastle fans, but media outlets, you're damn sure he's going to be aware of that as well. So he will already know which type of player they're looking for. Yeah.
We've known since before the end of the season what we needed and wanted. So or longer.
And that gives me comfort, the fact that he's not coming in cold. He knows exactly what the score is and exactly what Newcastle United need. So that gives me confidence as well. Here's another one from Lee Jones. Daz and Chris, do you think we will have a couple of signings in the door before we go to Japan?
Good question. I'm going to just look up the date we go to Japan. I think we will, as I said earlier, but I'm just going to check the fixtures here as to when we go to Japan. So, because we play Hull on the 27th of July, and pretty much straight after, you'd want to be going to Japan then, because we play the first game in Japan on the 31st of July. So you're talking 10 days, 10 days plus. You want to have your a couple of signings in, so you'd hope you'd have maybe 2 in by then. So yes, Lee. That's why I think one is just around the corner. And I'm still expecting one this week.
Yeah, I think we'll have 2 in, and it wouldn't surprise me if just before the window slams shut, we brought in a third, possibly a fourth. I think we will utilise. We will utilise the amount of time left in the transfer window. Does Eddie Howe want certain players in before the season starts? Of course he does. We know the season starts, I believe, on the 16th of August. He's going to want his main 2 in, and then I think it will be kind of for the last 2 weeks before the window shuts. I think it will kind of be, if any opportunities arise, let's go and get the players. So as you will all appreciate, there'll be certain players or certain scenarios where the club, there may be, say there's a player X we've inquired for and the club have gone, no, not for sale, not going to sell them. And then all of a sudden, an opportunity for them arises somewhere else. And then they're back on the phone last week in the window going, listen, how much are you going to offer for this player? So I do think there'll be a couple of players that we've highlighted and said they're the ones that we want, and maybe we've been given advances from their club, maybe we've been given indications from the player's agents that the player will be interested. We go and get those deals done, and then I think we remain opportunists, and we keep our powder dry, keep our hand in the ring, so to speak, and that if an opportunity comes up, we then do the deal. Would Eddie Howe want it in before the season starts? Of course he would, but you wouldn't rule out. I wouldn't rule out any incomings or outgoings on that basis, because people panic in the last week or so of the transfer window.
Yeah. Watch this space.
Watch this space.
All to come. All to happen.
Absolutely. Brant Bourne. No, I don't think you're crazy for being okay with Wilson staying. We discussed it earlier, mate. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Just to add on that, because Brad, you're just another side of it. I know I said, I think we should sell him, and we should bring it in. I like a Goncalo Ramos, or someone that's going to be our solid number 2. But also there is a case for keeping Wilson as well, because of that leadership, especially if we're going to lose trips as well. So he would bring that leadership, and we've lost a few leaders in Dummett and Richie as well. So you can see that they wanted to have some old heads in around the squad as well. But it's so.
Yeah. I'm going to pair these 2 questions together, Daz. Not because I think they're linked, but they are 2 completely separate questions. So Philip Ray says, do you think the interview was scripted? So the reason I'm pairing this other question up is because I'm kind of talking about announcements and what was said in the interview. David Baird says, do you think the new sponsorship will be announced this week along with the new strip? So I'm going to kind of add a little extra to that for you, Daz. I'm going to say, I think I've asked you this question before, but I just wondered if your opinions changed. Obviously, that interview that we saw with Darren Eales, I'll pass my opinion on very quickly. I do believe it was scripted. I think all those interviews are scripted. I don't think they've just pulled them to one side in Germany and gone, oh, Darren, I'll just ask you a quick question or a couple of quick questions. I do believe it will be scripted, and he'll be very careful about what he said. But the interesting part for me is about the sponsorship, and will it be announced this week along with new strip? So firstly, Daz, do you think that will be the case? And then to add on as a little extra, is there a chance that we're holding back this first big money signing for that sponsorship announcement, or maybe the strip announcement?
Okay. First of all, I agree with you. It's scripted, but he can ad lib. Like he'd have points that he has to take off, and he did very well. He did tackle all the main points and all the questions we had. He tackled them, and he could give as much information as we could. I think I read it out while you were while you were off air, Chris. But he says we've got a number of new partners in the pipeline we can announce over the next few months. months, weeks, who knows? Has to go through the Premier League sign off as well. You know yourself, like everything else, there's holidays and everything going on.
Yeah.
It's a slowdown across everything. Someone's given out to me on Twitter. Sorry. Yeah. So yes, I agree. It's scripted. I mean, on the kit, I was expecting it this week as well. Maybe it all comes together towards the end of that camp. You know, let them focus on the actual what they're there for, and then bang, a new kit. And that's why I the colors for the poster I put in that away colors. I was expecting that away kit to be announced towards Friday, to tell you the truth. It would be a missed impact if they didn't do something like that while they're at Adidas. You know, that's the legendary kit, away kit for you. It makes sense. It all ties up together. It's too much, too many dots there that join together to make it go. But on a new sponsorship announcement, I think that might be somewhat out of our control to some degree. But I think the announcement of the kit while we're at Adidas is not. Throw on a sign on it as well, and happy days.
Mate, you know, when you, fully enough, when you were talking about that, you know, when you, not every player's done it, but you know, when you see, I'm thinking back to the St. Maximin reveal for some reason, but you know, where like they do the slow camera and they raise it up, and then you see the shirt, and then it doesn't show you the back name, and then obviously the player turns around, and then they like do the name and stuff like that. I'm just picturing it now, thinking, you know, at the Adidas headquarters. And they show the away kit, and everyone's going, "Oh my god, the away kit! Oh, isn't that brilliant?" And they show the arms, and they show the legs and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, just a brand new face in the new kit. And then Malik 4. Hey, Malik 4's German, isn't he? Just saying. That could be a link in. Just saying.
There's another one to throw it in. Yeah. I'm sure he's getting some holidays as well after the Euros. But hey, there's nothing stopping as well that he couldn't have got a picture taken or before he went off on holidays as well. It's all a good conspiracy theory there, Chris. I like it. Actually, there's one thing I forgot to mention while we're on the subject of CEO, and I see there's one question that came in about it from Philip Ray. Shouldn't we hear about the stadium plan? So yeah, I wanted to go to this article as well. Yeah, so we're talking about again back to Darren Eales, but this one and Dom Skur put out this where he said he's kind of basically saying that no, there's no firm decision made yet. There's still the again Imminent, I think is the word used, that the stadium plans, that report is nearly there, but there's still the option of looking away from St. James's Park is on the table. And like if you think back as well, what did Amanda and Mairead always say? We're staying at St. James's Park. They also said we're going to win the Champions League or win the league in 5 years. You know, they were saying those kind of things, but they're gone now as well. I'm sure PIF have been saying we're staying at St. James's Park. They're keeping their powder dry. They're waiting, looking at all options, and they might involve some fan discussion as well. But whatever decision they make, they'll make. So I wouldn't be surprised, as we said the other day, that a new stadium may be in the pipeline in the future. But we'll see.
And you know what it does? I think it's fair to say, a new stadium. If they announce a new stadium tomorrow, it's not happening anytime soon. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to build. You're going to see it in about 2 years or something like that. And the more when you touched upon that, Daz, and you mentioned the stack, as good as the stack looks, and I think it's going to be brilliant. Does the stack look like a permanent fixture to you?
No, it's not designed to be a permanent fixture. It isn't like they said something like it's going to be there for 3 years plus. So that's the kind of contract it's there for. Maybe it's longer, but I thought that was kind of figure I had in my head. Yeah. It's not a permanent fixture. Look, it's all speculation. No one knows. They have to come. They have to get the reports. They even probably have their mind made up already what they want to do. Yeah. But this is the due diligence they have to go through to kind of make it okay and to sell it to us then as well. But I think there's big changes coming on that front.
Yeah. Well, I've got one more question for you, Daz. One more question. And again, it's from Lee Jones. Lee Jones with the fantastic questions this evening. Lee Jones says, with the Saudi window now open, do you think Miggy, Wilson or Trips will be heading there? So, in your opinion, obviously we've spoken about all three with the potential of going to Saudi. If I had to nail you now down to one player, which of those three players do you think is most likely to go to Saudi?
Miggy. I think, and the reason I said that is the idea was put to him in January. He's got his head around it now. I think he goes there. I think he's definitely gone out of Newcastle, but I think he goes to Saudi. Right? He tries it out. If it doesn't work out, so be it. He moves somewhere else. I think Miggy goes to Saudi. The next I'm thinking then is Trips. I think Trips for that one last payday, as you said, he's 33, going to be 34 in September, and I think there's a lot of things about going on with Trips. It seems like in his head he's on decline as well. So I think Trips is gone as well. And why not to get that payday in Saudi? And my third, I think the most likely of the three to stay is Wilson for me. But I could see all three going as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the only one I'd swap maybe, I think Wilson is the least likely. I agree with that. I think I could be swayed to say that Trippier may be more likely than Miggy, and the only reason I say that is because the rumours that we keep hearing is that Miggy's kind of, settled in Newcastle. He likes it in Newcastle, and I just wonder. I do think he's out the door. But I just wonder whether he's been holding out, trying to get a European move or maybe move back to the MLS. That would be the only thing. Whereas Trippier, I wonder whether, I don't know. We haven't heard any reluctance of moving to Saudi Arabia from Kieran Trippier's camp. And I know it's nothing official, do you know what I mean? But there was a lot of rumours that Miggy just didn't want to move to Saudi Arabia, period. Whether or not he's warm to that, like you've said, maybe he's now got himself settled. I don't think Miggy will be a Newcastle United player next season. I do think he'll be gone. I just wonder whether he will be in Saudi Arabia. But it's a close one between Miggy and Trips. I agree.
Mm-hmm. And then with Trips as well, there's the talk of he's selling his house, and then it's he's buying another house in Newcastle. It's just rumours and speculation. Exactly. We're not going to have long to wait to find out. So no. I think it will be wrapped up pretty soon. I don't think we'll be waiting much longer. And being honest, I think if we sold Trippier and Miggy, I think that's only going to benefit us because I see at least 35 million coming in for the pair, if not more. And that is a good wedge of money, which will then allow us to outlay and spend on incoming players. Cool. Yeah, I was going to say people put commenting as well of where they think everyone is going to end up. It's interesting in the comments. Is that any other questions, Chris, or where are we?
No, that was the final one, mate. That was the final question.
Cool. Well, that's it. That's it for the show. Thanks for everyone for joining us. We must give a shout out as well. We scroll across the bottom to Manscaped. Go check out manscaped.com and use the code LOADED20 for 20% off the range of products on Manscaped. So go check that out as well. But we shall be back. We are waiting patiently, like you are, for that signing. And as I refresh, just to make sure that there's nothing breaking news. No breaking news for Newcastle. But you never know when it's going to land. So that's it. And in honor of Eddie Howe and why we don't want him to leave, we're going to play out with the Howe. But thanks, Chris, for joining me. Thanks for joining at home. Thanks for Pete for popping on as well and showing us the Wi-Fi in Greece. But thanks, everyone. We will see you soon. How'd you like that? Good night.
How you like